Training webinar, electronic visit verification. What is EVV? EVV stands for electronic visit verification. It is technology that verifies who is delivering care and where and when that person is delivering care. EVV tracks and monitors timely service delivery and access to care for members and is intended to provide greater visibility into service delivery. EVV requires you to clock in and clock out for all service shifts and includes a capture of your location using GPS when providing a service. Location is only captured at clock in and clock out and is not recorded during the service or any other time. Why are we using EVV? It's required. In December 2016, Congress passed the 21st Century Cures Act. The Cures Act set new regulations requiring an EVV system to capture employee time for home and community-based services, including self-directed programs such as New Jersey Personal Preference Program. EVV stands for Electronic Visit Verification and is a federally mandated requirement that each state was required to implement starting January 1st, 2021. Updates to our system have already taken place. The Cures Act requires the following elements to be electronically verified: type of services performed, individual receiving the service, date of service, location of service delivery, individual providing the service, and the time the service begins and ends. Time4Care Electronic Visit Verification, or EVV app. Our response to the 21st Century Cures Act mandate was to expand the functionality of our tried and tested Time4Care mobile time entry and approval app, an app already used by hundreds of thousands of individuals across the nation. Time4Care EVV mobile app is tailored to self-directed home care programs. Time4Care allows your employee or employees to clock in and clock out to record their time and location. The app logs their location only at the time of clock in and out. It does not record their location at any other time. This mobile app is a free software application that works on mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets. It is fully integrated with our financial management services payment platform that we brand as the BetterOnline Web Portal. Common concerns. Does EVV require microphone, photographic, or video monitoring? No, EVV will not require a microphone, photographic, or video monitoring. However, if needed, a landline option known as telephony, an alternate method, can be used to comply with EVV. More information will be provided later on in the training. Are members required to carry a monitoring device on their person? No, the employee will be required to clock in at the start of the shift and clock out at the end. The device used to clock in and out does not need to be on the person the entire time. The app used for EVV in the Personal Preference Program will not track movements. In fact, location services for the app can be altered to allow only when used. An employee's location is only captured at the point of clock in and clock out and is not tracked during the entire shift. Will EVV restrict the locations that a participant may receive services? No, the implementation of EVV will not reduce or change the locations where the participant may receive services. EVV does not change the program rules, which will allow services to be provided both in the home and the community. And how will service details collected through EVV be stored and kept safe? All data will be stored in secure servers that are routinely managed and maintained. It complies with cybersecurity regulations and HIPAA law. Methods of EVV compliance: Time4Care mobile app, telephony for landlines, BetterOnline Web Portal, and signed paper timesheets. Is exempt: EVV live-in exception, or LE. In the state of New Jersey, employees living in the same home as participants will be exempt from using EVV and may continue to use paper timesheets. The employee must hold the same physical address as the participant in order to qualify for the live-in exception, or LE. EVV will still be reviewed during the next quarterly visit, even if all current employees qualify for the live-in exception. Should there be any issues or hardships in accessing the mobile app or setting up telephony, Those without an exception may continue to use paper timesheets until the issue is resolved. However, please note that is considered non-compliant with the EVV mandate. EVV live-in exception, or LE. If the participant currently has a live-in exemption, or LIE form on file, no action is needed unless there's an expiration date for the LIE. If someone currently has an LIE on file, the data will be auto-populated into a new checklist field to allow the employee to be EVV exempted. If the employee is a live-in provider and does not have an LIE on file, they must complete the live-in exception form, or LE. Key points. Self-direction allows participants and representatives to train employees on the following EVV key points, enabling them to take control of the training process. It is critical that both participants and representatives and employees are aware of the following. This is considered a federal mandate. All employees submitting time through a Medicaid-funded organization will need to submit their time live. Since each state is able to select the type of system to meet the requirement, the state of New Jersey has decided to use PPL's Time4Care. This message was shared by the state. This app is currently used by consultants when out in the field completing in-person visits and is also available to employees now. And the app is fully integrated with our financial management services platform portal and can be downloaded in any mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets.
EVV Usage Dashboard. EVV Usage Dashboard new feature. New Jersey programs will soon be implementing a new EVV feature in the Time4Care application to help providers and participants better understand their EVV usage and if they are meeting the state required compliance rate. When the new feature is implemented, an update will be required in the Time4Care app. Provider views. My EVV Perfect Shifts. On login, providers will see a new widget at the bottom of their screen. My EVV Perfect Shifts show the total EVV usage percentage across all participants that the provider works within the New Jersey programs. Shifts are calculated off paid data from the last 30 days and are updated weekly on Saturday. At the top, providers see the date range for the EVV usage data. This covers the last 30 days of paid shifts. When the provider clicks on the information button, the data range is explained in detail. The range will show if EVV compliance is low, medium, or high. Low is from 0 to 69%, medium is from 70 to 89%, and high is 90% and above. Please keep in mind that these percentages are subject to change once this has been implemented. EVV entries is the percentage of perfect shifts, while non-EVV entries is the percentage of non-EVV entries. Participant views. On login, participants will see a new widget at the bottom of their screen. My provider's EVV Perfect Shifts show the total EVV usage percentage across all providers that work with the participant. Shifts are calculated off paid data from the last 30 days and are updated weekly on Saturday. The range will show if the provider's EVV compliance is low, medium, or high. Low is 0 to 69%, medium is 70 to 89%, and high is 90% and above. Please keep in mind that these percentages are subject to change once this has been implemented.
Mobile app. Time4Care time entry process for participants and employees. The first step is to download that Time4Care app. For iPhone users, you would go to the App Store, select Search at the bottom of the screen, type Time4Care, select Get, and select Install, while Android users will open the Google Play Store, search Time4Care, and select Install. Time4Care employee process. If you already have a user account for the PPL's web portal, log into the app with the same username and password. If you do not have an account, you can create one by tapping Sign Up on the login page. Open up the Time4Care application on your Android or iOS device and tap on Sign Up. Choose New Jersey for the state, NJPPP/vet as the program, and employee as the account type. Enter the participant or provider ID, PONJP number, last name, and social security number. Create the user ID and password and select 3 security questions and answers, and confirm the user ID and password, accept the user agreement, and you're ready to go. Employee dashboard. Dashboard accesses frequent actions and important information. Clock in now will record your shift in real time, and add a past shift will enter a shift you already worked. Time entries will view a count of entries that require action by you or your participant, and you can tap to see the entries. And last paycheck will view your most recent payment. You can tap to see payroll details. Time will view a collection of all your time entries. Payroll will access all payments issued, including pay stubs, and settings will access support materials, touch or face ID, and manage your favorites and more. Notifications will view alerts related to time submission and approval. Clock in and start recording time. To clock in, tap Clock In Now from the dashboard and select who you're working for. From here, you'll select the service you'll be providing and save your selection as a favorite for easier clock in next time. Start your clock. Tap Running Clock from your dashboard to see your active shifts and add notes performed during your shift if required by your program. At the end of your shift, tap End Time to clock out. Review your shift details, tap Submit to finish your entry. There are 2 options for approval. My participant can approve now, which allows reviewing and approving the time shift on your device right now. And my participant will approve later, where your entries will be submitted and it can be reviewed and approved on the participant's own device at a later time. You can view your entry in the Time Entries page. Tap on Time in your base menu. Features. Payroll. Payroll will view all payments issued. It defaults to the past 2 weeks, and you can tap on the filter to change your view. Tap on a payment to see details, including a copy of your pay stub. Settings and other features. Support. Access the feature guide and frequently asked questions. Biometrics will allow you to enable touch or face ID if available on your device, and log in using your fingerprint and facial recognition. Favorites, you can update or remove saved participant service pairs for quicker time entry, and Contact Us will get in touch with us via call, email, or sending us a message. Offline entries. You can clock in and out without an internet connection. Your entry will be automatically submitted once you're connected to the internet, and no further action will be required. Time4Care employer process. Time entry approval methods include Time4Care, Time4Care Approve Now, BetterOnline Portal, and Telephony. If you already have a user account for PPL's web portal, log into the app with the same username and password. If you do not have an account, you can create one by tapping Sign Up on the app login page. To create an account, open the Time4Care application on your Android or iOS device and tap on Sign Up. Choose New Jersey for the state, NJPPP/vet for the program, and consumer as the account type. Enter the participant ID or CONJP number, participant last name, and the participant social security number. Create your user ID and password and select 3 security questions and answers. Confirm your user ID and password, accept the user agreement, and you're ready to go. Employer dashboard. Tap on an entry to view details and approve or reject. Tap View All to see all entries ready for approval. Select All allows you to select all entries that are ready for approval. You can approve or reject all. Tap a single entry to view details and approve or reject just that entry, and use the check boxes on the left to select multiple to approve or reject. Time entry rejection. Participants can individually select entries to reject by clicking on the checkbox to the left of each entry and then clicking the Reject Time Selected button. Time4Care Approve Now feature. Approve Now allows you to approve the time at the end of a shift through the employee's smart device. If you prefer this method, have the employee give you their device after they have clocked out. When selecting the Approve Now button, you will need to enter your verifying information and sign on the screen. A summary of the visit is displayed on the screen, and you must enter your last name, last 4 digits of your social security number, date of birth, and then you physically sign on the screen and tap Approve. If you discover that your employee has made an error, the employee can tap the back button to edit the entry and resubmit for review. Time can also be reviewed later. If so, the entry will remain in a submitted status, and you will be able to approve or reject via your own login to Time4Care or BetterOnline Portal. Landline telephony employee process. The telephony option is for employees who do not have access to a smart device, such as a smartphone or tablet, to clock in and clock out via the PPL mobile application. This alternate option went live on December 17th, 2020. Any timesheets prior to December 17th, 2020 can be submitted manually through Portal, Time4Care, or paper. In order to use the telephony option, the participant's landline must be stored in the participant's PPL profile. The participant must call customer service at 844-880-8702 to advise PPL that they want their employee to use the telephony option for EVV. The participant's phone number and address must be updated and accurate in PPL's portal. Telephony will not work until after customer service has been contacted to register the landline. If you call the telephony number from any phone that is not registered or stored in the participant's profile, you will not be able to submit or approve shifts through the system, and the caller will receive a message stating, "Sorry, the phone number you are calling from does not match the number registered for this individual. Please call back from the correct phone number. Thank you, goodbye," and you will not be able to proceed. Phone numbers must be updated with NJ Family Care at 1-800-701-0710 or with the local Medicaid office. Key points. If an employee is not currently clocked in for the selected participant, the IVR will default to clocking them in for the current date and time. If the date and/or time is not correct for the shift they are trying to record, they have the option to manually enter their start time, including entering a past date, and will also have the option to manually enter their end time for that shift. Please note this is not EVV compliant and is similar to completing a manual entry via the app or web portal. It will be flagged as non-compliant. If an employee has rejected entries that have been returned for correction, they will hear these first when dialing in and selecting the participant. However, if they do not want to spend the time correcting the entries right then, they have the option to continue straight to clocking in. Telephony does not automatically stop someone's shift at 11:59 p.m. If an employee works overnight, they can call in to clock out the next day. The shift will be split appropriately across 2 dates of service in the database. To clock in, dial the NJ EVV IVR number 833-598-6638. You'll hear, "Thank you for calling Public Partnerships EVV IVR service. Please listen carefully." Press 1 if you're the individual delivering care and need to submit time. Press 2 if you're the individual receiving care and need to review submitted time. Select option 1. Using your keypad, please enter your 8-digit date of birth. For example, if you were born on July 1st, 1998, you would press 07011998. Please enter the last 4 digits of your social security number, and please select the individual you are delivering care to. Press 1 for participant A, press 2 for participant B. Select the service. Please select the service you will be delivering. Press 1 for service code A, press 2 for service code B. You selected service code A. Press 1 if this is correct, Press 2 to reselect your service. Clock in. Your start time is March 18th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Press 1 if this is correct. Press 2 to manually enter your start time. If you press 1, you'll hear, "Thank you, your start time has been submitted." The employee is now clocked in and will remain clocked in until they call back to clock out and end their shift. If you press 2, you'll follow the prompts to manually enter the start time. Now that the employee is currently clocked in, he or she will need to call back to end their current shift. To clock out, dial the NJ IVR number 833-598-6638. You'll hear, "You are currently clocked in. Press 1 to end your current shift." It will say your end time is March 18th, 5 p.m. Press 1 if this is correct. Press 2 to manually enter your end time. If you press 1, you'll hear, "Thank you, your end time has been submitted." And if you press 2, you'll follow the prompts above to manually enter the date and time. Telephony option for approval. Dial the NJ EVV IVR number 833-598-6638. It will say, "Thank you for calling Public Partnerships EVV IVR service. Please listen carefully." Press 1 if you are the individual delivering care and need to submit time, and press 2 if you are the individual receiving care and need to review submitted time. Select option 2. You will then hear, "Using your keypad, please enter your 8-digit date of birth." For example, if you were born July 1st, 1998, you would press 07011998. Please enter the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. Press 1 for employee A, press 2 for employee B. You have selected employee A. Press 1 if this is correct. Press 2 if this is incorrect. If there are no submitted entries that need to be reviewed for the selected employee, it will say, "There are currently no submitted shifts that you need to review." If there is at least 1 submitted entry for the selected employee, it will say, "You have X time entries to approve. The following shift was submitted for your review. PCA service provided on October 12, 2020 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Press 1 to approve this entry. "Thank you, your entry has been approved." Press 2 to reject this entry and return for correction, where you would select the reason for rejecting the entry and then hear, "Thank you, this entry has been rejected." And press 3 to hear shift details again. Federal Telephone Assistance Program. The Lifeline program is limited to 1 discount per household. The discount is different with each provider, and certain restrictions may apply. For more information, please contact the provider for details on the level of services or discounts they provide. If you do not currently have a smartphone, Lifeline has resources for free smartphones for Medicaid recipients. The member or employee may apply directly at www.lifelinesupport.org. Those participating in any of the following programs should qualify for this benefit: Supplemental Security Income, Medicaid, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Federal Public Housing Assistance, Federal Veterans Pension, or Federal Veteran Survivors Pension. All of this information will also be available on the PPL website. BetterOnline Web Portal. Employees are no longer able to submit their time on the web portal because the portal is not an EVV method. All time entries submitted via EVV can still be viewed on the BetterOnline Web Portal. Members or designees can still review and approve time in the portal, and the portal can be used as an exception to submit manual non-EVV service shifts when necessary. For example, if the employee has lost their phone. The web portal has a modified look and feel to accommodate service shift level time review and approval, and employees and participants and representatives will have access to a tab named Archive Timesheets to submit or review electronic timesheets for dates prior to the EVV start date. You will continue to access the BetterOnline Web Portal with the same username and password for EVV that you are using today. For a detailed visual guide to the updated web portal, please go to PPL's NJ PPP program website. Manual entry, non-EVV compliant. Time for care manual entry. If the employee needs to enter time for a shift that has already occurred, your employee will have the option to enter time manually rather than clocking in and out. This should be done on an exception basis since this method is not EVV compliant. Follow these steps. Tap Add Past Shift from your dashboard and select who you worked for. Select the service you provided, enter your start time, end time, and notes if required in your program, and tap Submit. You can view all created time entries. This does default to the current pay period, and you can tap on the filter to change your view. Total hours worked is displayed based on applied filters. BetterOnline Portal manual entry. Sign in to the employee's account and select time entries. To log in worked hours, select the pay period by using the hours to select the current pay period desired. If needed, the drop-down arrow can be used to change the participant. Click on Add Entry for the day you need to enter time for. For each entry, select service, date and time you started working, and date and time you stopped working. Be sure to check that the time in and time out have the correct AM or PM designation for a morning or afternoon shift. If you are required to use EVV for time entry, you will be asked to select a reason that you are manually entering your time via the web portal. Once your entry is added for that day, the status will show as not submitted. You can add additional time entries before submitting if needed. Once all entries have been added, you will need to check off the attestation box at the bottom of the page. The Submit button will be disabled until this attestation box is checked. After checking the attestation box, click Submit Entries. This will fully submit any entries that were added or modified above. After clicking Submit Entries, you will receive a confirmation box letting you know that your time was successfully submitted. Your participant or employer will be able to review and approve or reject each time entry that has a submitted status. You can view the current status of each time entry on the Time Entries page. You can also view the status along with payment details by selecting the Payroll submenu option. The Payroll page groups all your time entries by pay period. The most recent pay period is at the top. If payroll has not been processed yet, you will not see any payment details. Click on View Entries to return to the Time Entries view to see all your time entry details for that pay period, including status. For any past pay periods, you will see payment details, including a link to view your pay stub. Select View Entries to see your time entry details for that pay period. Frequently asked questions. How does the app work if I do not have internet access? The mobile app continues to work offline and will still record the time and location where services started and stopped. When your device is in an area with internet access, your offline entries will upload. Can I begin and end my service shift at different locations if service is not delivered in the member's home? Yes, Time4Care allows you to clock in at one location and clock out at a different location. For example, you can start your shift at the grocery store and clock in, or can end your shift by clocking out at the post office. Is it going to cost me anything to use this system? No, there is no cost to use the EVV system. What happens if I forget my smartphone or it dies or runs out of battery? The employee can create a manual entry for past time worked, either using the app or the web portal. This should be used on an exception basis only. Any entries that are not recorded in real time on the app will be flagged as non-EVV entries and tracked in the system. If your phone dies during your service shift, the clock will keep running until you clock out. How does the participant or AR manage the review and approval of manual entries? They must verify the hours submitted were worked hours, regardless of submission method. What happens if I forget to turn on the location services on my phone? Can I still clock in and out? No. If location services are not turned on, you will not be able to clock in or out. You will see a message asking you to turn on location. If this happens, turn on location services in your device settings. Can I turn off location services during my service shift if I turn it back on to clock out? Yes. As long as you turn on location services when you clock in and when you clock out, the system will record your service shift data in compliance with EVV regulations. Is my personal data secure on your app? Yes, we take your data very seriously. Your data is always sent using 256-bit AES algorithm, the highest standard communication security. If a tablet has Wi-Fi but no cell service, can it be used for EVV? If the tablet has GPS enabled, then yes, it can be used for EVV. Can I use the web portal to clock in and clock out? No. Only the Time4Care app on a smartphone or tablet can be used to clock in and clock out. The web portal is not EVV capable. If you were unable to clock in or clock out on an EVV system, you can use the web portal as a retroactive manual entry, but only as an exception. What if the employee does not know what service they will do when they clock in? Or what if they work part of a service shift doing one service, then switch to a second service? Beginning a service shift with the Time4Care app requires that you define the service being provided. Employees need to work with their participants or representative to understand what service will be provided before beginning the service shift. If two different services will be provided during a service shift, simply clock out, then clock back in and select the second service. Does the participant or representative have to use the app to approve service shifts? The participant or representative can use the app, the web portal, or telephony to review service shifts. If approved for paper timesheets, the participant or representative will sign the timesheet for approvals. What happens with group services? If the employee provides service to more than one participant at the same time, they will simply select the participants they will be delivering care to when they clock in. If my service shift is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., what happens if I clock in, for example, at 10 or 4 a.m. or clock out at 3:59 p.m.? Employees are required to sign in and out for the actual time worked. Please do not edit your service shift in this situation. Use the Time4Care app to clock in when you begin working and clock out when you end working. The exact minutes do not need to align with the planned service shift. There is no system requirement that you clock in or clock out at an exact time. PPL will keep track of all the minutes you work for your service shift and process your payment according to current program rules. By going back in and manually correcting your service shift to align with the exact start of the hour, you've turned your original clock in, EVV compliant service shift and created a non-compliant entry. PPL will provide DDD reports about services delivered to participants. Questions. We want to make these materials as helpful as possible, so let us know if you have any feedback, questions, or concerns.